All right, let's talk about how we can add upgrades to our buildings or soldiers or really anything that we want to have upgrades to in our game. All right, so we got a comment, hopefully it'll be on the screen here, asking about having a research system or upgrade system, something along the lines of Age of Empires 2 and Command and Conquer. I spent about hour and a half, 2 hours looking around. I couldn't find anything that was specific because I've never played the game myself. And every video I clicked on, because the images were of no use at all. So the videos I clicked on, they happened to be just running through real quick at hyperspeed, or they were just showing image of an upgrade or research or whatever on the screen and talk about it. And I couldn't find anything specific, but I did find something on the channel called The Viper, which hopefully should be on screen right now. And I believe this little section in this bottom left corner is what you are referring to, since you are talking about having a grid container. Alright, so we're going to talk about something like that. And I believe it's that not only because of the grid container, but because every time you clicked on a building or a character, what was down there would change every time. And since you wanted something that would be like building specific or soldier specific, things along that line, I believe that is what you're looking for. And what we have on the screen here is we have this set up in two different ways. We have a grid container like you were asking for, which does work. I have just a bunch of texture buttons in here because we're going to need to be able to click them and activate them, which means you're probably going to want these buttons to be toggled, and you're going to want to create multiple sprites because you're going to need the activated sprite or the toggled sprite and the normal sprite, for example. And then you have to keep track of whether it's already been activated or not. And as you can see here, there's no background, so you're going to have to create a background to go in there as well. It's just a lot of extra things that you would have to do. Whereas I would probably recommend more of the item list, just because it looks pretty identical in its appearance, except it comes with that background. It comes with the ability to select and get our indexes of everything. We could have images, we could have text, we could have one of them, both of them, doesn't matter. We got information for when an item is selected. In my case, whenever I activate an item, I change the background to this web maroon. That was a flash. I don't know if you guys saw that. That was weird. But we have this. I changed the background here when it was selected with just one line of code connected to a signal. So we have a lot of this information already done for us. So because of that, I would recommend going this item list route, unless you have a very specific reason for wanting to go with the grid container. For example, you could make your own. A grid container would be better for something like an inventory, where you could have the text overlaid on top of the image of itself. Whereas this, if we added a piece of text in there, as you see, the text is going to be underneath of it, or we have an option somewhere in here for the text. There we go, to be left and right of it, like so. Well, just don't get me wrong, this can work as well as for like an RPG kind of inventory. But yeah. Where did I type that text in? Right there. Alright, so there we go. I would recommend the item list route. Again, just because we have a lot of things that are pretty much already set up for us right out of the box. So I'm just going to hide that grid container, and I'm going to use the item list. And you might notice that I do have a signal. Again, that's just my item activated. And all I have here is a color selected. So set item color, the index of whatever we clicked on, and then the color I selected was web maroon. Alright, so now obviously you can keep track of whatever index is activating that, but with this, we're going to want to do it after we click on a building, right? So we say our research building, and don't mind the icons that I have, it's just what I had on hand. Nothing really works with this game, with what I currently have. But let's say our research building here, right? When we click on it, we want to pop up its little upgrade panel, right? So when we click on an upgrade from that, we want to affect, what would be its stats, which in this case of this building would be like the wait time or points gained, so that we can get more research points quicker. Or if you wanted health on a building, you could increase that stat as well. So the question is, how are we going to add our list item, our upgrades, to our building when we click on it? Well, when we click on it, we need we're going to have our mouse inside of it. Now, usually I use something like mouse enter, mouse exit to keep track of whether I'm in or out of an object. But I think I'm going to go a different route today. I'm going to try the input event, which hopefully we can just check it to see if it is just the mouse button, right? So I'm going to go ahead and connect this to my research building. Right? And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and print. And what I'm going to print out is going to be the event. Right? Because I don't need the viewport. I don't need the shape index. Shape index is, I believe, is just going to be 0 here. So we're going to look at the print event. So when my mouse is inside it, you can see when my mouse is moving, we're getting some information. And I'm just going to hold my mouse still and click. So you see we have an input event mouse button. When I press and release. And that's the information that we're going to be looking at. So we're looking for input event mouse button. Right? So let's go ahead. Let's have some space down here. And let's go if event is input event mouse button. Right? And let's go ahead and pass this in, and we'll take a look at this because we're going to take this step by step. So we're moving around, nothing happens, and we click. There it is. So we got our click down, our up, and you see there's also a double click flag. So if we were to quickly double click, we see we can get a true flag in there for just a moment. All right. So far, so good. So if event is input event mouse button, we want to check that it's been true as well. And we want to get the index. All right, so if it's a mouse button, we're going to go ahead, we're going to say if event dot button index is button set button left, button index, that gives us a mouse button. Okay, so I think we're gonna have to put in mouse button left, the full thing. Mouse button left, right? And event dot pressed, which it should be. All right, and we'll tap our print in again. All right, no problem. Set that in there. What do you mean you couldn't find mouse button left? Let's take a look. Harder, you guys probably saw it. We didn't have an equals or anything. We weren't doing any comparisons here. So that was the issue. I didn't even notice I put is in there. So if event is an input event mouse button, and if event.butIndex is mouse button left. So if we're detecting the mouse and it's left click and it is currently being pressed, then we're going to do this, which is print. So let's take a look. Put our mouse inside that area in the top left of our building there. Nothing happens. I left click and it prints out. All right, so now that we have it happening when we left click, perfect. So right here where our print is, we would go ahead and replace that with our UI for our upgrade. All right, so the first thing I'm going to need there is I'm going to need this item list here. And I'm going to go ahead and right click it and save branch as scene. We'll put it in scenes. It's going to be my upgrade. I'll call it my upgrade panel. Right, and now I can remove it out of here because that's fine. Go to my research building and I'll instantiate my upgrade panel. So it's here. And if you wanted to get more like those games, you would make it tiny, I guess, stick it down here as well. But it's fine. It doesn't matter too much. We can, yeah, I guess we can stick it down there. That's fine. Now, this has a bunch of items in here by default, so we'd probably want to get rid of those. Meanwhile, we also want to need to keep track of the items that we want to have, or the upgrades that we want to have. Okay. No problem. So I'm going to go into my items and I'm just going to delete all the default items that I put in here for the example. And I'm actually going to shrink this down because this is set to automatically grow with our items. Go through, save my sets here. Right, so in research building, inside of our ready, we're going to need some items. So as usual, I'm going to go with the export method. And I'm going to call this the upgrade list. Of course, this is an item list type. Set this in the inspector so we have easy access to it. Now we need to know the upgrades that we have. So upgrades, and this is going to be do I want to go with dictionaries? I think I'll take a look at the dictionary. Yeah. So add a key value pair. We're gonna go with a key. This key will be a string, and the string is gonna be icon path or I suppose it doesn't really matter so much what the key is if I make the value a dictionary. So if I put the value of a dictionary, then we can have each individual have their own subset, which is probably what we should do. So let's call this upgrade. Doesn't matter. I'm just going to call it U1. This is going to be a dictionary in of itself. And this dictionary will have a name, string, where you at. There you go, right? So I have a name, and the value for this is going to be, say, let's say double points, right? We'll add another pair here, string, so double points. This is going to be the description. Allows this building to earn points twice as fast. And what are we going to need for this? We're going to need anything else? Yes, we're going to need an icon to go with it. So we'll have an icon path. And is there a path option here? No, there's not. All right, so take a path. Just right click, copy path from my files and paste that in. And that should work. So now, if I were to come in here and check for key in upgrades, not upgrades. Now I'm questioning myself. Is it me? The word doesn't look right to me now. Alright, so for the key, hopefully this isn't... Oh man, I deleted it by changing the name of it. Trying to get that to upgrade. It's not upgrading there. In that list. Okay, so right now I'm just gonna print key and I'm gonna get there we go. That's because I was still typing. So I've got to go ahead and redo this, so just give me one more. Okay, I went ahead and added that, so I have U1 for my first key. Typed here. Double, there we go. So U1 has a dictionary that's gives us a name, or a name, description, and the path to our icon that we're going to use. All right, so for key and upgrades, we can now take a look at upgrades key. Why does this keep resetting on us? What? All right, I went ahead and added in. I think I just didn't add in the actual key to the upgrade dictionary, so that's my fault. So if we go to upgrade keys, the key that'll give us name, description, icon, path. This okay, so here's where we can start adding our items in. So we're going to take our upgrade list, right? So upgrade list dot add icon item. Yeah, let's go with the icon item. So you're going to need a texture 2D in there. Whoops. All right, so we're going to have to go up here with that. But you're going to we take a look. A texture 2D, and then whether or not it's selectable. I click on the right building. All right, so we're going to take that and do this as a texture 2D. Let's see if it'll load in normally. If we just bring in key, and this would be icon path. We'll see if that works. Probably not. I'm going to guess we're going to have an error. Yes, we are. From string to object. All right, so fact is we're getting a string here. We need to load it. So I have my variable for the icon, and it's being cast as a texture 2D. And all we're going to do is load and pass in that path. Whoops. did a little too much there. So passing that path, so that would be our upgrades key and icon path. And then for when we're adding to our list, we just pass in our icon. We just pass in our icon and we take a look. And there it is. Perfect. All right, cool. So now we need it to actually do something and only appear when we click on our building. Making it appear when we click on our building is easy because we have our own mouse button. Right? So we can just get our upgrade list dot visible equals true. So now that we have it off, once we click on it, it should show up. Boom, it does, and we can activate it. Perfect. All right, so what do we need now? Well, we need that activating to actually do something. All right, so that's going to be on my item list here from our signal on item activated. And you could put that on the research building script if you really wanted to. It's perfectly fine, but what we're going to do here is we're going to check let's see, do I want to put it here or do I want to move it up there with? How do I want to do this for activating? Do I want to make our checks here or up there? What would be easier? Okay, I went ahead and just added, instead of doing it in the inspector, I just added it inside of the code for my upgrade. So I just moved it there, and I think I'm going to actually move my item activated. I think I'm going to go ahead and actually move it to my research building. All right, so I'll just go into my item list and actually remove that signal. All right, so when we activate it, I can go ahead and I can match the index that we have passed in. Right, because we're going to match up. So if we have index 0, because we're adding it in order, so 0 is going to correspond with our first upgrade item that we put in. So we're going to have 0. This activates. 1. This activates. 2. This activates, and so on, right? So you can just add another one in, as many upgrades as you actually have. So for us, we only have one upgrade, that's 0. And for us, 0 is going to be our double points. Now, if we wanted, we could match the name of it as well. If you wanted to go about it that way, which would just be upgrades. Pass in the index. Right? We can just get the keys out this way. If that's what you want to do, but I'm just going to use the index. It's fine. And 0 is the only one that we have, so that's going to be double points. So what we're going to do with that is we need to increase our points. So we can either take our points gain and multiply it by 2, or we can cut our wait time in half for our timer. Either way should work out fine. To make it more noticeable, I think I'll just do the wait timer in this case. So wait time equals wait time divided by 2. Now, depending on how you go about this may only be able to be reduced so far. So just keep that in mind. Question is, are we going to be able to do this multiple times as well? So let's go into our main. Let's bring up our building, grab our research, place it, click on our research, and it's not showing up. Okay. So we're going to have to take a look at that as well. Is that it's because it's all the way down there. All right, so we're going to have to change where that's spawning in, but if we go ahead and activate, we can see the points that we're gaining at the top. It's pretty slow. For whatever reason, it's not activating. Okay, so let's take a look at this issue. All right, so I've gone ahead and I just added my... Oops, I come over here. I just put the item list inside of a canvas layer now. So that when we're on our main screen, and we place our research building, it's actually here at the bottom of our screen instead of off screen floating somewhere. So that was just a quick overlook or quick oversight for us there. And now for the actual code, I was printing it out, and we would have a bug in here, of course, because we can constantly activate it every time. But let's tackle one thing at a time. The first thing we want to do is we want to reset our timer, the wait time on our timer. Right, so we're going to set our wait time equal to our new wait time here. And that should allow us, whoops, come over here to the main screen. Try that again. Place that down, and we can see how slow we're gaining. And we activate that. That should be going quicker. Here we go. And here's the bug. We can continuously activate it. And as you can see, since we can keep activating it, we kind of have like an infinite point glitch here, which is a little ridiculous. So we're going to need to keep track of that as well, which is easy enough. We just go into our research, and we'll just add in an activated panel here, set it to false by default. And now when we come in, we can actually check if it's already been activated. Sorry there. I was going to put it inside of each of those, but instead of doing for each of those, we can actually just come up here and do a check. So say if upgrades index, hopefully we can just print it out like this. Activated. And I say hopefully because sometimes it'll let me do this and sometimes it won't. So say if activated, print already used. And it looks like it is not going to. Unless that is a capital U. There we go. All right, we'll see if that works. And if so, then it'll print it out to us already used. Out of balance index 0. Okay, so yes. So we're going to need to get our key. Our key. It's a string. It's going to be our upgrades dot keys. Right, key, yes. Happen the index. There we go. And we'll just pass key in there. Alright, so we try to activate it after it's already been used. That's actually not going to work because we did not tweak it yet. We're going to leave key there. Actually, we will. For this. Activated, we'll set that to true. There. So now when we activate it for the first time, we'll come through here, we'll set it to true. If it's true, we'll print out already used. And I know the bug is still going to go through, but we can at least try it. Make sure we have a proper detection going on. Right, nothing happened. Well, nothing aside from our points going up quicker. We try it again, it says already used. Perfect. But like I said, our bug is still going to persist here. So that's fine. So if it's activated, we print already used. So all we're going to do is hopefully just putting a return. Should back us out of there if it's already used. Otherwise, we'll continue with the code. And let's take a look. So it looks like we cannot spam that out. And let's just make sure it is indeed going faster. Activate. And that is indeed going faster. So there you go. We've already added the increase. We can add our perks to it, and you can set this with characters as well. All you need is to be able to hide it. And to do that, we'll go ahead and we'll just come down here to our visible. Say it equals not upgrade list.visible. Now you can go ahead and address this in whatever different ways you would like. As you see, we can come in, and if we click on it, it's going to hide it. Click it again, it'll show our upgrades. And I'll place another one so we can see how they're going up. See, they all have their own upgrade panels going on here. That one's not activated, that one is. We activate that one, and so we're going to go up a little quicker. So there you go. Everything has their own upgrade panel. You just follow the same procedure through whatever you want to put these upgrades on, right? So you put this upgrade panel on, add your upgrade icons, and based off of that index, if you want, you can go ahead and make whatever you want to happen. And just to throw one more thing in there, because new players probably wouldn't know if they were playing your game. Let's do upgrade list.set item tooltip. And for that tooltip, you can pass in the index for each one, right? So you can just kind of keep track of that, and just go ahead and set the result to being the tooltip. For now, I'll just go ahead and hard code it just to show you it, since we only have the one item anyway. So I've gone ahead and added it in there, and you'll see if I just hover my mouse over, we can see the description appearing as the tooltip to tell us what each of these perks do. Alright. Now, likewise, if you wanted any of your abilities to cost points, then obviously you would come down here. When you activate it, activate your ability, you can come in here and you can subtract the points from the UI if you wanted to. But yeah, you can just follow that same formula for each of your soldiers or for any of your buildings. And if you wanted to change the sprite, you just load a new sprite in. If you wanted to do that, all we have to do is just do something like var image. Apologies, that was the old way. Forgot that changed in 3, so we can actually come all the way back up here to our img variable. It's called load. Pass in our icon. Do .get image. And we'll put our create from image back in there. All right. And there you go. So there's how you can change the sprite if you wanted to change the sprite as you added upgrades. All right. But with that, this is a long video. Take care. Have yourselves a good one. Hopefully you learned quite a bit, because there's quite a lot of things that we went over in this one. But I'll see you guys next week in the next video.